This is MILF on the Shelf by Lili Valente, narrated by Jason Clarke and Lili Valente. Chapter 1. Maggie. There's a toilet in the kitchen. A Christmas toilet, wrapped in festive green and silver garland, and topped with a floppy red bow. No, not happening. I close my eyes, squeezing my lids tight. But when I open them again, the toilet is still there, as is the weirdly large and deep sink beside it, the one that looks like it would be more at home in a mad scientist's operating room than the kitchen of a swanky, three-story brownstone in New York's exclusive Chelsea neighborhood. At least the house looks swanky from the outside. If it hadn't, there's no way I would have invested 100% of the profits from my last 3 flips on this project. I'm a risk taker. You have to be to buy foreclosed properties sight unseen. But I'm not a crazy person. Unlike the last soul who lived here. In addition to installing a toilet and serial killer cleanup sink in the kitchen, Mr. Snively filled the ground floor with boxes upon boxes of bulk food and used the basement as his personal reference library. There must be at least 1,000 books down there, as well as magazines, newspapers, and a mountain of unlabeled VHS tapes. He also cut a hole in the living room wall to make room for a tree that had decided to grow into the house from the back garden. The tree, at least, I was aware of before I closed the deal. I saw it, and the massive hole in the wall, during my survey of the property. But I assumed it was the work of an old man with more love for nature than common sense. I'm a talk-to-my-houseplants gal from way back. I can understand wanting to spare the green things, especially in this city, where every flower that survives the pollution feels like a gift from the universe. But amassing groceries, books, and collectible beer steins until every nook and cranny of your home is stuffed to overflowing, that isn't tree hugger behavior. Poor Mr. Snively was clearly a hoarder, and most likely the second and third floors will be just as jam-packed with junk as what I've seen so far. I should go look. See what I'm really in for. I need to assess the damage and rework my renovation schedule, since there's no way my demo crew can get started next week, not with the entire house filled with stuff. Instead, I pick my way around several boxes of Sugar Krispies cereal, the holiday kind, with the red and green pieces mixed in, and sit down hard on the closed toilet, shivering in the icy wind whipping through the hole in the living room. In the grand scheme of things, a Christmas toilet in the kitchen is a relatively easy fix. I can have it and the spooky sink ripped out and the floor and drywall replaced in a day. Maybe 2 at the most. Still, the Christmas toilet is the thing that does it. The straw that breaks my single-income household, single for so long I can't remember what it feels like to have someone to lean on, back. Crack. Right in 2. I drop my face into my hands and give in to the tears pressing against the backs of my eyes. Shit, Maggie. What have you done? I mumble to myself between sobs. You knew it was a lemon. You knew, and you put in a bid anyway. You're so stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. It's true. I am stupid. And I did suspect something was seriously wrong with the house. There's no other way I could have landed a property in Chelsea, one of Manhattan's premier neighborhoods. I'm a bad part of Brooklyn, girl. I started flipping houses in Flatbush 10 years ago, back when you could still get a deal on some of the old Victorian beauties in need of a gut job. And in the years since, I've made a decent living for myself. My daughter and I inhabit a tiny but adorable condo 5 blocks from here, next to the excellent public school she's attended since 1st grade. And Lexi's never wanted for anything. Not the things she really needs, anyway. She wears clothes from thrift stores instead of the designer boutiques where her friends shop. And we cook reasonably priced meals at home instead of going out to eat every night like my old prep school friends. But we have everything we need: food, shelter, a great school system, and quality time together as a family. Or at least we used to have those things. If I have to get a second job to dig myself out from under this money pit, mother-daughter date nights at the museum might be a thing of the past. I already know I won't qualify for another loan. I'm up to my armpits in debt. The armpits that are presently sweaty, even though it's so cold in the house I can't feel my nose. And there's a chance the pipes will burst if the next few days are as frigid as the weatherman has predicted. And if that happens, I won't just have a mess to clean up. I'll have a wet mess that will put the integrity of the vintage wood floor, foundation, and other expensive-to-fix things at risk. Oh, God, I mutter, blood rushing in my ears as my anxiety peaks. By the time the text comes in, I'm stressing so hard I don't hear the notification chirp. But I feel the vibration, and like all mothers, instantly yank my cell from my coat pocket to ensure Lexi doesn't need me to pick her up from school. Thankfully, she doesn't. If I had to see her right now, I wouldn't be able to hide my swollen eyes. And Lexi's always been perceptive. At 6, she could sense when I'd had a bad day and needed a hug. At 16, she sees through me in a heartbeat. And she knows I got the keys to the new flip today. She'd instantly realize we're in trouble. Luckily, I still have until this afternoon to pull myself together and hide the scary truth from my daughter. Unluckily, I have to deal with the Wicked Witch of the Upper West Side first. There are probably worse people in the world than Stephanie Pinkerton, but not many, and none in my personal acquaintance. In a perfect world, I would have left Stephanie and her ability to make me feel like a wad of cheap bubblegum stuck on her shoe behind in high school. But our parents are friends, and staying on the Hope for the Homeless charity board had meant so much to my grandmother. Graham died years ago, but she's still with me. A gentle voice in my ear reminding me that it's the most wonderful time of the year, and even sucky, stuck-up, poop-face Stephanie deserves a little holiday cheer. So when I read Stephanie's text, RSVP, am I going to get one from you, or are you just going to show up like you did last year and expect the rest of us to scramble to accommodate you? I take a deep breath before responding. Then I harness the better angels of my nature and calmly tap out. I RSVP'd via email last week, so I should be all set. Hope you're having a great day. I'm having a very busy day, single-handedly cleaning up 100 messes while the rest of my committee gets their nails done, she shoots back. And are you sure about that RSVP? Your name's not on my final list. I thought maybe you'd decided to skip this year, since it's such a couple-heavy event, and you fly solo. Fly solo. It sounds like a fun, adventurous thing, and I'm sure it is for some people. But I'd rather have a +1. And Stephanie knows it. There's little doubt in my mind that her last sentence was an intentional dig. A hunch that's confirmed when she adds, "So if you want to sit this one out, I won't tell your parents. Spare you a night of standing around looking awkward while everyone else has a good time." Eat a pound of reindeer poop and die, Stephanie, I mutter, my jaw going tight as my fingers fly. She's just so smug and evil, and shameless about being smug and evil, that I go out of my head for a moment. My face flushes hot, and my vision blurs. And by the time I pull my screen back into focus, I see that I've written, "No, I'll be there, and I'll have a +1 this year. I'm bringing my boyfriend." What? Shit! My stomach drops, and my mouth goes dry. I hit the backspace button and rub frantically at the screen. But it's too late. The text has been sent, and my finger doesn't have magic, stupid decision erasing powers. Shit, 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 I hiss, my heart racing as I tap my foot fast against the dusty boards. Beneath me, the Christmas toilet groans softly, agreeing that I've made a mess I have no chance of cleaning up. Chapter 2. Maggie. There's only one way out of this. I need a lie, a good one, and fast. I'll explain that I was just kidding, or that I'm suffering from asbestos poisoning from my new house, or that someone stole my phone and is prank texting my frenemies for fun. My fingers move across the keys, making it up as I go along. But Stephanie beats me to the punch. Wow, really? Well, that's a surprise, she texts. I look forward to meeting this guy. I didn't realize men in Manhattan were dating single mothers. Maybe there's hope for my sister after all. She's in great shape and has an incredible career. Inferring, of course, that I am not in great shape and do not have an incredible career. Oh, shut up, Stephanie, I growl before shutting off my phone with a firm click of my thumb and stuffing it in my coat pocket. It's the only way to keep from saying something I'll regret. Or something else I'll regret. Though something I'll regret more than making up a fantasy boyfriend I won't be able to deliver by 7 p.m. tonight is hard to imagine right now. Poo on a peppermint stick. Could this day get any worse? All right, Maggie. I take a deep breath, swiping the tears from my cheeks. Time to think. You've got a good head on your shoulders. You can figure this out. The pyramid of expired canned goods in the breakfast nook shoots me the hairy eyeball, issuing a challenge I refuse to take seriously. I do have a good head on my shoulders, and I excel at troubleshooting. It's one of the things that makes me great at my job. I also have an extensive list of contacts and connections. Growing up in New York's high society and attending an Ivy League school, I did enough networking before college graduation to make up for the fact that I spent the rest of my 20s caring for my surprise baby. Turns out, condoms really aren't 100% effective, and that wasn't just something my mom said to keep me from having sex in high school. And starting over after my divorce at the ripe old age of 27. Add in my 10 years as a house flipper, and I know somebody or somebody who knows somebody in almost every corner of this city. And I don't hesitate to utilize my connections. I've found people usually enjoy helping other people. I know I do. Especially 2 days before Christmas. Hey, Jerry. Happy holidays, I say when my old foreman answers. Jerry quit to start a handmade cabinet business a few years ago, but we've stayed close. I've got a hoarding situation in Chelsea and could really use an extra pair of hands. A cheap pair, if you know one. I didn't factor removal of 10,000 beer steins into my budget and need to get this job done on a shoestring and sweat equity. Preferably before Christmas. Jerry laughs, loudly, because he's from the Bronx and not even a little bit shy about making noise. No problem, Mags, I got you. Some of the 20-somethings in the neighborhood started a handyman service a few months ago. They're new, but cheap, and getting great reviews. I'll text the number as soon as we hang up. Thanks so much, Jerry. You're a lifesaver. We chat for a few more minutes, catching up on kid and work news, before we say goodbye, and I pull up another number. A number that's not nearly as easy to punch into my phone. When my little sister's friend Penny gave me her business card at a wedding last summer, I thought it was a joke. The idea that sweet, soft-spoken Penny runs a male escort service blew my mind. She insisted Magnificent Bastard Consulting isn't an escort service. It's a unique company specializing in helping scorned women get revenge on their evil exes, no hanky-panky involved. But I wasn't sure whether to believe her. Is there really a market for such a thing? Enough of a market to sustain Penny and her husband Bash's not at all humble lifestyle. They own an apartment in a neighborhood even swankier than mine, for goodness sakes. But, as my not at all evil ex Ken reminded me when we discussed it later, I have no frame of reference for a really bad breakup. Yes, when Ken and I called it quits, I was devastated for our daughter, and so sad that we couldn't make our marriage work, no matter how hard we tried. But I never hated Ken. He'd hurt me, and I'd hurt him. But at the end of the day, we were able to forgive each other for the sin of being too different to stay in love, hold on to our friendship, and devote ourselves to raising the happiest kid possible. 10 years later, we still have dinner with Lexi as a family at least once a week, and even took her to Disney World together for her 12th birthday, staying in separate rooms and reuniting each morning to tackle the parks. Ken is still my go-to emergency contact. He can be scatterbrained, but he has a cool head in a crisis, unlike my excitable mother and short-tempered father. And now that my ex and I are just friends, I truly enjoy his company. When I took Penny's card, I never imagined I'd need an intervention from a service specializing in making ex-husbands jealous and convincing creepy stalker types to back off. I still don't. But I do need a date for the ball. Tonight. Leaving me no time to hunt down a bachelor of my own. Not that I would have much success with that, even if I had a solid month to search. I haven't been on a date in over a year, and the last time I had a boyfriend, Lexi still needed help reaching the top buttons in the elevator. Sadly, in my experience, Stephanie's depressing words have proven true. Men in Manhattan aren't interested in dating single mothers, especially single mothers with teenage daughters, who look far more like their ideal woman than a lady with fine lines around her eyes and the curves to prove she fell off the no-carb bandwagon around Donut Junction and never got back on. Of course, my daughter is still a child, as are the underfed teen models the men in this city are determined to date, but that's what these guys have been taught is the cream of the crop. And New York City men are nothing if not competitive. They want the best job, the best apartment, the most exclusive brunch reservations, and the hottest, youngest, supermodeliest girlfriend. Or at least one who looks like a supermodel, even if she does something worthwhile with her time aside from weighing less than a large dog and wearing lots of black. A 37-year-old mother who spends her days in jeans, working a power sander, or ripping out drywall isn't going to register on their radar, no matter how cute, clever, or interesting she might be. In my experience, men don't want interesting. They want a trophy. Or, less often, a sweet partner with a functional uterus, ready to pop out a few babies as quickly as possible, since they waited until they're 40 to start a family and need to get that in motion ASAP. My uterus went the way of my stiletto heels years ago, stuffed into a bag, and donated to charity, along with a bunch of other things I know I'll never use again. Okay, so I didn't donate my uterus. It decided to grow a bunch of painful benign tumors I call the dumb lump gang and had to be removed. But even if I had a perfectly healthy baby maker, I have no urge to start over again. Becoming Lexi's mother is the best thing that's ever happened to me. But it happened when I was very young. I've never had a chance to be on my own, to be a grown-up without a child to raise. And I'm excited about that part of my future. Which puts me, and most of the single men in Manhattan, in two very different places in life. Finding a sane, interesting man in his late 30s or early 40s with a sense of humor and no deal-breaking weirdness, who is fine with becoming a stepdad and doesn't want kids of his own, is like trying to find gold in a Vegemite sandwich. It's probably never going to happen. And it's absolutely not going to happen before 7 p.m. tonight. Not without an intervention from someone with boyfriend-acquiring connections. Gathering my courage, I shoot a text to Penny. I have to attend the Hope for the Homeless charity ball tonight, And I may have just told Stephanie Pinkerton that I'm bringing a date I don't have. Any chance your company can set me up with a fake boyfriend before sundown? Bubbles instantly fill the screen. And soon, Penny's reply pops through. 100%. Magnificent Bastard Consulting will set you up, lady. And then Stephanie can eat her smug, single lady shaming shorts. I grin. I've always loved Penny. I answer a few questions, letting her know that age and ethnicity don't really matter to me, as long as he's not too much older than I am. Before I add, though it would be nice if he looks good in a tuxedo. Penny shoots back a winking emoji. Don't all men look good in a tux? Ugh, I'm so jealous. You're going to have an amazing time. I wish I were coming so I could see the look on Stephanie's face. But I have to stay home and eat ice cream and have my feet massaged. How far along are you now? I ask, remembering Penny's cute little baby bump last August. 8 months. But I look like I'm 20. A crying face emoji pops through, followed by an ice cream emoji and a winking emoji. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop eating ice cream every night. I smile. Of course you shouldn't. The baby needs calcium. Right? And I need salted caramel with dark chocolate covered... She trails off, only to send a string of hearts a beat later. Oh, yay! I just heard back from my top choice for you. Zachary is free tonight and a total doll. You're going to love him. He teaches guitar part-time and grew up fixing houses with his dad. But he lives way uptown and won't have time to pick you up before the event. Is it okay if he meets you under the zoo clock in Central Park a few minutes before 7? Then you guys can walk over to the ball together. It's still by the boathouse, right? In the big heated tents with a view of the pond? Heart pounding, I reply. Yes, it is, and that sounds great. But now that I think about it, I probably should have asked how much this is going to cost before I jumped straight to the booking part. And do I pay him or you? And should I tip? And if so, how much? Is an escort more like a taxi driver or a bikini waxer? Penny sends a laughing emoji. No, don't tip him. And don't worry about the fee. This is my treat. A thank you for being the nicest big sister I knew growing up. I insist that she allow me to pay. She refuses to consider it. And finally, after another 10 minutes, I agree to let her cover the cost if she agrees to make me her free, go-to babysitter when she and Bash need a break. I tuck my phone back in my pocket, take one last glance around the disaster in progress, and get back on my feet, leaving the Christmas toilet to rock plaintively on its uneven base as it gives up my weight. Tomorrow, toilet, I promise. I'll be back for you tomorrow. But tonight, I'm going on a date. A fake date. But still, I'm excited and scared and curious. What's Zach going to be like? What kind of guy works for a revenge escort service? I can't imagine. But it looks like I'm about to find out.
Chapter 3, from the texts of Zachary Coop Cooper and Penny Pickett Prince. Penny.
Thanks so much for taking this assignment, Coop. I've known Maggie since I was in 3rd grade and wanted to set her up with someone perfect.
Coop. Aw, thank you. Does this mean I'm your favorite?
LOL, you know I don't play favorites. I just think you and Maggie will get along. She restores old houses for a living, and you worked on old houses with your dad growing up. You play in a rock band, her daughter plays in a rock band. There's a lot of common ground.
Sweet. What band?
I can't remember the name. Pregnancy brain is making me stupid, but her daughter's really good. Maggie used to sing in college, too. She was a member of an a cappella group before a cappella groups were cool.
Nice. I can't wait to meet her.
Perfect. Just don't tell her that you're 29, okay? I mean, unless she asks. And then maybe tell her you're 31.
Why?
31 sounds so much older than 29, don't you think?
No, I meant why should I lie? She's only 37. It's not like there's that much of an age gap.
I know, and maybe she won't care, but she's kind of old-fashioned and hasn't dated much since she and her ex broke up 10 years ago. I don't think she has any idea how normal it is for women to date younger men these days.
She hasn't been on any of the dating apps?
Nope, I tried to talk her into it at a barbecue last summer, but she insisted she wasn't the kind of person who has success on apps.
But she's gorgeous.
I know, right? So gorgeous, and sweet, and funny, and super hardworking, and interesting on top of it, but being single in the city for too long has done a number on her self-confidence.
Yeah, I can't say I blame her. It's so hard here. If I haven't found a girlfriend by next summer, I may have to move back to Maine. I mean, I love the music scene here, but it's lonely as hell, and the girls in Maine are so much nicer.
Dude, and the girls in New York are a gazillion times nicer than the guys. It's a savage dating jungle out there. I still believe there's someone in this big bad metropolis for everyone, but Maggie's never going to find her someone if she doesn't poke her head out of her cave every once in a while. So maybe you can help her set up an Ignite profile after you guys dance the night away and make every mean-spirited socialite at the ball terribly jealous of Maggie?
Consider the jealous part in the bag, and I'll do my best with the app. But I'm not going to pressure her into doing something that doesn't feel right. Some of us aren't digital people, you know? We need to meet face to face.
That's valid. Just because I fell in love with my husband via email months before we met in real life doesn't mean it's easy to meet your soulmate online.
Bash does write a good email.
He does, and he gives even better foot rubs. I'm off to get my pregger's ankles massaged. Your rental tux is en route to your apartment and should be there in plenty of time for you to get changed and meet Maggie at 7.
Great. I'll take good care of her, I promise.
Of course you will. Oh, and feel free to text me later, after the date, if you have anything you want to share.
Anything I want to share?
Yeah, just anything you want to talk about. I'll be up. I'm trying to binge watch every season of Grey's Anatomy before I give birth, and that's a lot of medical drama to get through in a month. I'm never going to get there if I go to bed at 9 like a wimp.
LOL. Okay, I'll text if I need to, but I'm sure everything will be fine. I know I'm new, but I'm familiar with the ropes by now.
Of course you are, and you're very good. I promise I'll get you more work after the holidays. Business always picks up in the spring. Then you'll be able to stop working those other odd jobs and devote yourself to being an amazing fake boyfriend full-time, at least until those losers pull their heads out of their asses and give you a teaching position.
Thanks, Penny. I'm glad I met you and Bash. You've made my first holiday season away from home a lot less lonely.
Aw, of course, Pumpkin. We love you, and Maggie will too. Have a great time, and say hi to her for me.
Will do.
Chapter 4. Maggie. Back in the old days, when Lexi was an adorable 11-year-old who joined me for high tea at the English Rose and talked my leg off during Sunday afternoon wanders through the Metropolitan Museum's Egyptian wing, I was positive I was the luckiest woman in Manhattan. Nay, the world. Somehow, I'd dodged the raising girls is bleeping hard bullet. Yes, I knew most mothers faced challenges with their daughters, their tweens especially. But my Lexi was the exception. She was a delightful, curious kid, an all-around joy to be with from the moment she was born to the day she turned 16 and decided to fit all her tween and teenaged angst into 1 year. At least, I hope this only lasts a year. If I have to deal with hormonal, thinks I'm a mortifying dork Lexi until she goes away to college, I might end up in the loony bin. But I need you to come with me, she huffs from my bed as I rush around to my room, attempting to pull myself into ball-ready order. I don't want to walk all the way to 10th Avenue alone. It's creepy over there. It's not creepy, I say, ignoring the voice in my head that insists I'm a terrible mother who should cancel her plans and personally escort her daughter to her gig and back home again. But that voice is crazy. Lexi was raised in the city. She's street smart and knows better than to put herself in danger. Besides, 10th Avenue in Chelsea is hardly the hood. It is creepy, she insists, and the scaffolding around that warehouse on 23rd always smells like urine. It's New York. Everything smells like urine. Not like this. This is fresh. Like, always fresh. She makes a gagging sound. I keep expecting a serial killer with bladder control problems to leap out and stab me, and then, like, pee on my body or something. Then go down 24th. But Hunter lives on 24th, Lexi says, reminding me how glad I am her ex-boyfriend is no longer putting his slimy DJ wannabe hands on my daughter. And the haunted mansion is on 22nd. It isn't. Ow! I jerk my mascara wand away from my eye, grateful there doesn't appear to be any lasting damage. Just a smear I should be able to get rid of without redoing my foundation. It just has weird windows, I continue, as I wipe at the black spot. And the houses over there cost more than we'll both make in our entire lifetimes. You'll be perfectly safe. She sniffs and bats one of my throw pillows across the room into a chair overflowing with unfolded laundry. Speak for yourself. I'm going to be a disgustingly rich rock star someday. Assuming I don't get killed on the way to the gig tonight, of course. Seriously, Lexi. I turn to her, digging my pinky finger into the bottom of my last tube of lipstick. Stop it. We've talked about the passive-aggressive thing. It drives me insane. I'm not being passive-aggressive. She crosses her arms and juts out her bottom lip. Even dressed all in black, and wearing enough eyeliner to give a raccoon a run for its money, she looks so much like her 5-year-old self that it sends a pang through my chest. Where did my little girl go? And why is the teenager who swallowed her annoyed with me all the time? I'm trying to tell you that I feel unsafe, and you aren't listening, she continues, arching a perfectly filled-in brow. And I'm also trying to do you a favor. You're going to have a horrible time at that ball. You always do. You shouldn't go. I sigh and keep digging into the tube, hoping to get enough lipstick to cover both lips. I have to go. I'm on the board. If I went to a party that made me cry in my closet after, you wouldn't let me go back the next year, she says, her voice softer than it was before. My shoulders fall, and the pang in my chest becomes a bittersweet twist of understanding. So you heard that, huh? She nods. Yeah, and I think Stephanie Pinkerton is a bitch. Don't call grown-ups bitches, I say automatically, but my heart isn't in it. But she is a bitch, and totally lame. What kind of grown-up makes fun of other grown-ups' dresses? That's like so 5th grade. Some grown-ups act like they're in 5th grade, I say, sighing as I toss my gutted lipstick into the trash near my vanity. I shouldn't let her get to me. That's my fault. No, it's not. Lexi swings her long legs off the bed. She takes after Ken, tall and thin, but her sandy blonde hair is dyed a deep purple. It's Stephanie's fault for being a bitch. You're so nice, Mom. You're like 100 times better than those losers. She stops in front of me, her brows wiggling hopefully. That's why you should ditch the ball and come to my show. I can get you in for free, and they have that gross scotch you like at the bar. I lift my hand to her cheek. You're a sweet soul, and I appreciate the offer. But I have to go, and I think I may have fun tonight. Penny set me up with a date. Lexi's eyes go comically wide. What? You're going on a date? And you didn't tell me? It's not a date. It's just a friend of hers who agreed to be my +1. He grew up renovating houses with his dad, so she thinks we'll have a lot in common. Wow, yeah. You'll be perfect for each other. This is amazing. Lexi snatches a tissue from the box behind me and stuffs it into my hand. You need red lipstick and glitter. I'll go get mine. I don't need... I trail off as Lexi dashes out of the room, my protest transforming to a smile. My daughter was trying to protect me, and now she wants to help me look cute for my date. It's a beam of sunlight cutting through the teenage angst, and I instantly decide to let her do whatever she wants to my face. If it makes her happy, Lexi can make me look like a Ziggy Stardust groupie. Thankfully, she goes easy on the glitter, and by the time she's finished tweaking my eye makeup and lipstick, my green eyes pop, and my bare shoulders look like a snow queen sprinkled magic in my direction. Hot. Lexi stands back to survey her handiwork with a grin. He won't be able to resist you. Just be sure to use protection. Lexi, I say, so shocked all I can do is stand there blinking as she continues. Seriously, Mom, Go get you some. Just make him wrap it up. You're old, but you can still get pregnant, and like half the population has an STD, so... The door buzzes, and Lexi claps her hands together. That's Daria. She's going to walk with me so I don't get peed on by serial killers. See you tomorrow. I'm going to sleep over at her place. Oh, okay. Well, have fun and rock hard. I lean in to accept a peck on the cheek. And text me when you're in for the night so I know you're safe. Will do. Lexi heads for the door, her eyes dancing. And text me if you want to brag about getting laid. Lexi! I shake my head as I bluster, You're 16. Almost 17, she tosses over her shoulder. And I'm rooting for you, Mom. You can do this. It's just like riding a bike. I stop in the hall, resisting the urge to follow her to the door and confront her about her sex life in front of her friend. I know she and Hunter were sexually active. She asked me to take her to the clinic to get birth control pills beforehand, the way she promised me she would. I also know she has a crush on her bandmate, Baxter, but I didn't think anything had come of it. Baxter is in his 20s. His very early 20s. But still, my baby is 16. She's still a baby, and if she's having sex, it should be with other babies. I wrinkle my nose. But I know what I mean. She's too young to have sex with grown men or encourage her mother to go get some. And I'm not sure I'll ever be okay talking about my sex life with my daughter. Not that there's been much to talk about. I mumble to the silent condo after the door slams. There won't be anything to talk about tomorrow either. Zachary isn't that kind of escort. Not that I would sleep with him even if he were. I have standards, for God's sake. But that absolutely isn't on the table. This is a business arrangement, a favor from an old friend. And chances are I won't even find this guy attractive. It takes more than a hot body and a pretty face for me. I mean, yes, an attractive exterior is nice, but chemistry is about so much more than looks. I'm drawn to men who are passionate about what they do and what they believe in. Men who work hard, play hard, and laugh hard. Men who are clever and funny and, most of all, kind. I actually like nice guys. Call me crazy, but seeing a big, strong man choose to use his heart before his other muscles, I think that's the sexiest thing ever. The chances a man who works as an escort, even a high-class, no sexy times escort, is going to be my type are slim to none. The realization puts my frazzled nerves at ease. This isn't going to be weird. I'm not going to spend the night feeling awkward. I'm going to meet a nice guy who works for my friend, enjoy his company while avoiding ridicule from Stephanie and her band of evil society minions, and come home and eat a pint of ice cream, secure in the knowledge that I won't have to wear a ball gown again until the summer benefit. Spirits buoyed, I hail a cab to Central Park, arriving at the entrance to the zoo a few minutes before 7, just as snowflakes begin filtering down from the dark sky. It's a gentle snow, just enough to make the park look coated in fairy dust. But I didn't spend 20 minutes wrangling my hair into an updo to get soggy flyaways. I reach for the hood on my wool coat, just as a shadow falls across my face. I glance up, startled to see a fancy umbrella with a carved wooden handle held over my head. Don't want Cinderella getting wet before the ball, a deep voice rumbles. I jerk my attention toward the voice, gaze colliding with the bluest eyes I've ever seen. They're Siberian husky blue, priceless gemstone blue. So bright and startling, it takes a moment to realize the face they're set in is equally breathtaking. High cheekbones, full lips, and a perfectly crooked nose, combined to form a man so insanely gorgeous, his face should come with a warning. May induce drooling at first sight. But he's more than a face. He also possesses broad, muscular shoulders that strain the seams of his tux, and the poised body of an athlete. Even the hand holding the umbrella handle is extraordinary, with long, manly fingers and a wide palm that could easily cradle a grapefruit with room left over. He's The prettiest thing I've ever seen. So drop-dead gorgeous, I forget my own name. Which is okay, since he apparently knows it already. Maggie, right? His grin, complete with charming eye crinkles, hits me like a sucker punch to the ovaries. I didn't mean to startle you, just didn't want you to get snowed on. I choke on my next breath, but manage to play it off as a laugh. Oh, of course. Thank you so much. So you're Zachary Cooper, he supplies, extending his free hand. But my friends call me Coop. I hope you will too. I take his hand, trying my best to ignore the way my nervous system lights up when his fingers wrap around mine. Maggie Peterson. So nice to meet you, Coop. Thanks for making it on such short notice. Of course. He releases my hand with a final friendly squeeze. We can't let this monster woman get away with wrecking your holiday. I exhale with a bob of my shoulders. Oh, she wouldn't ruin it, just pee on it a little. He wrinkles his perfectly imperfect nose. Well, you don't want that either. As far as I can tell, New York City has enough rogue urine. My daughter and I were just talking about that. Though that would be a great band name, I say, without thinking, jumping into the game Lexi and I play when we hear a weird word combo that might look good on an album cover. I start to explain, but Zach, Coop, is already laughing. Rogue urine. Yeah, that's a good one. He nods toward the clock, where the metal animals are lurching into motion as it strikes 7. Bronze monkey experiment. Also a solid effort. I tip my head in acknowledgement, my lips curving. Very solid. Dance the elephant would also be good, though probably too much like Cage the elephant. But the elephant in question would be a lot happier, he shoots back, without missing a beat. Damn, he's clever. Funny, too. But on a serious note, he says, his expression softening, it's truly great to meet you. Penny is the best. Any friend of hers I know will be a friend of mine. Shit. He seems nice, too. Why did he have to be nice? It isn't fair. No man this beautiful should be a sweetheart on top of it. His head should be swollen from a lifetime of women swooning at his feet. You want to get going? He asks, glancing down. Your toes must be getting cold in those shoes, Miss Maggie. Hearing him say my name is enough to make me shiver. But it's below freezing outside. He'll assume I'm chilly. Not that I'm falling straight into crush at first sight with my fake boyfriend. But as we head under the clock and up the path on the other side, Coop's cedar and citrus scent filling my head, I know I'm in trouble. If I'm not careful, I'm going to make a fool of myself with this handsome stranger. Way more of a fool than I ever could have, flying solo.
Chapter 5. Coop. I'm screwed. So screwed. In 4 months of fake dating beautiful women, I haven't once felt tempted to step over the line. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy good-looking ladies as much as the next guy, but it takes more than a pretty face or a hot body to get me going. Even a pair of calves as stunning as Maggie's isn't enough to flip my switch, though they seriously couldn't be any sexier. Strong calves and slim ankles are my kryptonite. But the only woman I've ever loved was a marine biologist who did stand-up comedy on the weekend. And yeah, Gretchen was beautiful, but it was her brain, her passion for her work, and her crazy belly laugh that did it for me. That made me fall for her hard and fast, like love was a wave knocking me on my ass. The moment I laid eyes on Gretchen, I knew I'd met someone special. Sometimes things just click. Sometimes you look into a woman's whip-smart eyes, see her sunshine smile, and know saying goodbye at the end of the night is going to be hell, especially knowing that goodbye is forever. But I can't think about that now. If I think about how much it's going to suck to watch a woman like Maggie, the only woman who's inspired real-life sparks since I moved to this cold and lonely city, walk away, I'm gonna do a shit job of being her fake boyfriend. We should work out a backstory. I say, guiding the umbrella lower as a gust of wind sends snowflakes wafting into the air. Penny usually takes care of that with the intake paperwork, but since this is a last-minute thing, we'll have to figure it out ourselves.
Okay,
Maggie says, smoothing a red curl away from her face. With her pale skin, pink cheeks, and lips painted deep red, she looks like a princess escaped from a fairy tale. A princess in need of a kiss. Stop thinking about kissing her, asshole. Focus. This is your job, I remind myself, willing my gaze away from Maggie's lips. You have any preference about the way we met? She draws her coat tighter around her neck.
No, not really, but it's probably easiest to make it a work thing since that's where I spend most of my time. Maybe you're part of my real estate-focused networking group?
Perfect. I still do handyman work on the side, so I have a few city Mr. Fix-It stories I can share if I need to. Her brows lift.
Oh yeah? Penny said you taught guitar on the side.
I smile. I do, and I'm a handyman, and a fake date. And sometimes I deliver pizzas on Saturday nights if I don't have a gig. I glance toward the skyscrapers surrounding the park, where the most privileged people in this city stay safe and warm no matter what the weather's like outside. Life is a lot more expensive here than it was back home. Maggie makes a sympathetic noise.
It really is. My dad co-signed on my first loan 10 years ago. If he hadn't, I never could have gotten a toehold in the market, let alone started a flipping business.
She sighs.
Sometimes I feel guilty for having a leg up on the rest of the people struggling to get by. I mean, I work really hard, but my parents' money made the difference between jumping right into the kind of work I wanted to do and struggling for a decade to save the capital to even get started.
I touch a light hand to the small of her back, trying not to notice how good it feels to touch her. You shouldn't feel guilty. We all have our own path.
We do, but I'm not sure why I got a paved multi-purpose trail and so many people get a rocky trek through the spider-infested jungle.
She shudders. Not a spider fan?
No, remind me to tell you the story about the tarantula in my sleeping bag at summer camp later.
She turns to face me in the light of an antique street lamp.
So, we met at a flipper networking event in Highline Park.
I asked you for coffee, I add, and you said yes.
And the rest is history?
She cants her head to one side, her nose wrinkling.
Or is that lame?
It's not lame. Sometimes a coffee and good conversation are all it takes to start something special. I meet her gaze, and potential energy thickens the air between us. My voice is huskier as I add, so all that's left is to set a few boundaries. Are you okay with holding hands? She nods.
Yes.
Other physical contact that's appropriate for polite company? She nods again, slower this time. And what about kissing? She pulls in a breath, and I swear her eyes go a deeper shade of green as she says,
I'm okay with it, but I'm not sure I'll remember how. It's been a while.
I arch a brow. Yeah?
Yeah, a long while.
How long? I step in, telling myself the umbrella is in a better position this way, and that the move has nothing to do with wanting to be closer to this woman who's made every part of me sit up and take notice. Her gaze cuts to the snowflakes as her lashes flutter.
Like a few years?
A few years? I ask, certain I must have heard her wrong.
Like 4 years?
She cringes.
God, that sounds even worse out loud than it did in my head.
Her eyes flick back to my face.
I'm a weirdo, aren't I?
No, it's fine. I hurry to reassure her. I'm sorry, I was just surprised. That's all. You're so pretty and easy to talk to. I shake my head, words failing me. I'm sorry, I'm usually way smoother than this, I promise. She exhales.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you don't run into women who've been on the shelf this long every day. You're probably wondering what's wrong with me, right? What hidden flaw has resulted in me becoming permanently unkissable?
You're not permanently unkissable.
I'm pretty sure I am,
she says with a tight laugh.
The last 4 guys I went out with didn't even try. I'm fairly sure one of them was gay, one didn't like my sense of humor, and the other 2 were just really shy. But once you get on a bad roll, it's so easy to start thinking it's your fault.
It's not your fault. She lifts wide, sad eyes to mine.
But what if it is? And what if I really have forgotten how to kiss? I could make a complete fool of myself, and you and Stephanie will have all the proof she needs that I'm going to be a lonely old spinster forever.
Her shoulders curl.
So no, I don't think we should try it. Holding hands is fine, but
I move closer, cutting her off with a kiss as I wrap an arm around her waist. And in those first few seconds, as her lips move tentatively against mine, I know there's nothing wrong with the way she kisses. And then her lips part from my tongue, and she sighs into my mouth. And I know I'm going to remember this kiss for the rest of my life. It's so sweet and sexy and honest. Kissing Maggie is like talking to Maggie, easy and real, and so much fun I never want to stop. But of course I will. But not now, not yet, not until I've memorized the way she wraps her arms around me, the way she tastes, the way she makes me feel not alone for the first time since I moved away from home. Maggie is special, a gem in a city full of fakes and pretenders. She's the kind of woman any guy would be lucky to call his, and before we part ways tonight, I'm going to make sure she believes that too, even if it means helping her get online to meet a man who isn't me. Even though I hate that guy already. Hate him a lot. A whole lot.
Chapter 6. Maggie. Wow. Wow, wow, and more wow. All the wow. Now this is a kiss. This is a kiss. The kind that makes the entire world fade away until there's nothing but the person in your arms. I'm standing in the snow, wearing pantyhose and heels, and probably on the verge of losing a toe to frostbite. But I feel no pain, no misery, no cold. Just the pounding of my heart and the rush of my blood and the cheers of celebration as every cell in my body rejoices. I'm pretty sure my mitochondria are throwing a party in my cytoplasm because Coop's lips, Coop's arm tight around my waist, Coop's husky voice murmuring against my mouth. I think you've got the kissing thing covered. Everything about him is so sexy that by the time he pulls away, my bones are gelatinous ooze. And if he asked me to bang in the baseball dugout, I'd kick the homeless man out of his nest and race Coop to see who could get their clothes off the fastest. But that's not going to happen, of course, because this is pretend. Only it didn't feel like pretend. Not even a little bit. I peer up at Coop through my lashes, hoping he can't see how much I want to keep kissing. Maybe it's my imagination, but I would almost swear that he looks rattled too. But surely not. He's a gorgeous guy and a professional fake date. He's probably kissed dozens of women, all of them way more experienced and up to date with their kissing skills than I am. Yeah, I finally say, knowing I can't stand here staring at him forever. I guess it really is like riding a bike. He cups my face in his big hand, brushing his thumb lightly across my bottom lip in a way that makes my insides ache. I'm afraid I kissed off your lipstick. I'll reapply when we get there. You don't need it. His gaze slides down to my mouth, lingering there for a stomach-flipping moment. Freshly kissed looks good on you. I bite my bottom lip, fighting a smile. You too. Currant wine is your color. He grins. Yeah. Do I have lipstick all over me? He swipes the back of his hand across his mouth. Did I get it? I laugh. Some of it. Here, let me. I reach up, wiping away the red beneath his bottom lip and at one corner, acutely aware of him watching me touch him, of the intimacy of the moment. There. All better. I lift my gaze to his, my breath tight in my lungs as our eyes meet. God, you're pretty, I say, my cheeks going hot as I realize I said it out loud. But he doesn't seem bothered. He just laughs, tipping his head closer to mine as he murmurs, Ditto, beautiful. You ready? Ready. Or as ready as I'll ever be. I take his arm and head toward the twinkling white lights strung through the trees around the boathouse. My inner voice muttering, "It's just pretend, Maggie. Just pretend." I repeat the words over and over. But when we reach the line of couples waiting to check into the ball, and Coop leans down to whisper, "We're going to dance, right? I love to dance," in my ear, the joy rushing through me is real. I smile up at him. "Yes, please. All night long. All night long," he promises. And then he kisses me again, and I give up the fight. I'll worry about how hard I'm going to crash and burn later. Right now, I'm just going to enjoy the ride and the unexpected gift of a night in Coop's lovely company.
Chapter 7. Coop. A dead ringer for Bing Crosby is crooning White Christmas from the stage at one side of the heated tent. The smell of evergreen trees and mulled cider fills the air, and I'm swaying under the glow of thousands of tiny lights with the prettiest woman at the party. The only way the night could get better was if I knew our first date wasn't going to be our last.
Is the music driving you crazy yet?
She asks, a twinkle in her eye. Not a chance. I love Christmas songs.
Me too. They remind me of my grandmother's house. When I was a kid, we'd spend all Christmas Eve day baking cookies and listening to carols. Then Gram and I would stay up until midnight drinking cocoa and writing letters to Santa. She always wrote one, too. She said, "You're never too old for magic."
Sounds like a smart lady. Was she a redhead like you? Maggie's lips curve on one side.
She was. How did you guess?
I've found redheads on the whole to be a pretty magical species.
Oh, yeah.
Her brow arches.
First love?
Guilty, I admit, face going unexpectedly hot. But I've dated brunettes, a few blondes too. It's not a fetish or anything. She grins wider.
No?
No.
So what are your fetishes then?
I'm pretty into a nice pair of calves, like yours, I say, knowing better than to get any racier than that. If I start telling her how much I loved long Sunday mornings in bed, reading the paper naked in between makeout sessions, I'm going to get myself in trouble. What about you?
Icing,
she whispers, nibbling her lip.
Homemade peppermint icing.
I'm pretty sure that's a craving, not a kink.
No, I like to lick it off of things and to have it licked off of me.
She breaks off, ducking her head with a giggle while my thoughts dive straight into the gutter.
I can't believe I said that. I think the mulled wine is going to my head.
Then we should go get another glass. I tease as she wraps her arms tighter around my neck. I hug her close, doing my best to stop imagining what it would be like to lick peppermint icing off her lips, her shoulder, her other places that I'm not going to think about. If only she didn't feel so damned good. If only her laugh wasn't like champagne bubbles. If only she didn't keep getting cuter with every passing second.
I think I should hit the buffet first,
she says.
Who knows what I'll say if I have more wine on an empty stomach, and they have the best honey-glazed spare ribs.
That sounds incredible. My stomach rumbles and she grins, nodding her head toward the other side of the tent.
Come on, I'll show you where they put the good stuff.
She leads the way off the dance floor. At the edge, I recapture her hand, loving the way she glances over her shoulder, a warm flash in her eyes that makes me think she likes my touch as much as I like touching her. Thank God we're not alone, or I'm not sure I'd be able to keep my hands in professional date places much longer. My orientation paperwork had an entire section on how to handle myself in the event I was tempted to behave inappropriately with a client, but I skimmed over that part, assuming I'd never have that problem. Now I'm cursing my arrogance and rethinking the wisdom of another glass of wine. I should be building my resistance to this woman, not hacking away at it sip by sip, kiss by kiss. Tell me something awful about yourself. I collect a plate and join Maggie at a hot bar that's giving off heavenly smells. Flaws, I want to hear them. She cuts a narrow glance my way as she loads a sexily generous number of spare ribs on her plate.
Why?
There has to be something wrong with you.
Well, I'm an old maid who never dates.
She murmurs, her brows furrowing as she adds.
How old are you, anyway?
29. I say, telling the truth without hesitation. I don't want to lie to her. Her eyes widen.
Really?
Yeah, but I look older. Years of working out in the sun without sunscreen and staying up until 3 in the morning playing guitar in dive bars.
I couldn't do either one,
She says, reaching for the sweet potato spoon, proving she's a girl after my own heart.
I blister in the sun and turn into a pumpkin at midnight.
Yeah, I'm over the struggling artist gig. My long-term goal is to get a job teaching music at one of the schools in the city and play weddings and bar mitzvahs on the weekends.
So you didn't come to the city to be famous? Make it big as a rock star?
Nah, that's my little brother's dream. I moved here to keep an eye on him and for a change of pace. I sigh. I stupidly thought it would be easy to get a teaching job. I graduated with honors and was kind of a big deal music-wise growing up. Won lots of awards and played Carnegie Hall when I was 12.
Wow, good for you. That's awesome.
I laugh. Thanks, but so far none of the people hiring music teachers seem very impressed.
Well, hang in there and keep trying. It's hard to impress people in New York, but sooner or later someone is going to wake up and realize they don't want to let a treasure slip through their fingers.
You haven't heard me play, I tease. I could suck butt.
You don't suck butt.
How do you know? She stops in front of an empty table, meeting my gaze head-on.
I've got a solid gut when it comes to things like that. I know a good egg when I meet one.
Thanks. I'm on the verge of returning the compliment when a tiny blonde with a frighteningly flawless Barbie doll face appears beside our table and coos.
Maggie, sweetheart, color me 50 Shades of Surprised. You did bring a date. Oh, and he's adorable.
The squeaky blonde extends a tiny hand my way.
Stephanie Pinkerton, organizer, fundraiser, Maggie fan from way back. And you are?
So this is the mean girl in charge. I glance Maggie's way to see her shrinking in her seat and vow to deliver a perfect 10 on the fake date performance scale. With my most charming smile in place, I take Stephanie's hand, giving it a squeeze before releasing her too soft palm. I'm Zach, but my friends call me Coop. Nice to meet you, Stephanie.
Likewise.
She winks at Maggie as she sidles closer and adds in a softer voice,
Now tell me everything, Coop. How did you meet our Maggie? How long have you two been dating? I need the entire story. You're aware that a woman over 40 is more likely to be hit by a bus than meet a hot younger man, right?
She laughs, meanly.
Seriously, Maggie is pulling off the impossible here, and I just have to know how our little country mouse landed a cutie like you. I was raised on the Upper East Side, Stephanie,
Maggie says in a kinder tone than this Barbie monster deserves.
And I'm not 40 yet.
Stephanie waves a breezy hand.
Oh, but you're close, honey. And when you wear overalls to work, you're country by default.
She giggles again, leaning in until her breast presses against my arm.
So you like a woman who works with her hands, Coop? I think that's lovely. So many of our friends are baffled by Maggie's life choices, but then most of the people we know hire help to change their light bulbs. The thought of actually getting down in the dirt and scrubbing someone else's filthy toilet gives them heart palpitations.
She shudders and presses even closer until she's practically in my lap as she adds,
But it's amazing that you can see past that to the sweetheart inside. Maggie's been alone so long, we were beginning to worry she'd stay that way forever.
I meet Stephanie's gaze, seeing the invitation clear in her eyes. All I'd have to do is throw Maggie under the bus and I could be balls deep in poison Barbie doll by the end of the night. But I'm not into poison people or Barbie dolls. I'm into kind, gorgeous, inside-and-out women like Maggie. Hell, I'm into Maggie, period, which is going to make the next part of this job a fucking pleasure. I have no idea what's wrong with the men in this city. I take Maggie's hand. I'm just glad Maggie was single when we met. She's the best person I've run into in a long time. Maggie smiles.
Ditto. Ah, isn't that sweet?
Stephanie says in a voice that implies it's anything but.
So it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that her parents own half the Upper East Side?
Maggie's jaw drops and her head swivels, but before she can speak, I turn to Stephanie with a smile and say, No, it has to do with the fact that she's sexy as hell and I can't keep my hands off of her. And sweet and funny. She's the entire package. I glance pointedly down at Stephanie's left hand where a garishly huge diamond sits on her ring finger. What about you? What was it about your husband that made you fall in love? The blonde's mouth hardens.
I'd be lying if I said his 401k and penthouse weren't taken into consideration. Money's nice, Coop.
It is, I agree. But Maggie's nicer. And if I'm lucky enough to make her mine someday, we'll get a prenup. I don't want there to be any doubt in her mind that I'm in love with her, not her family's money. And if you were any kind of friend, you would have found a hell of a lot better way to ask that question.
I was just being protective,
Stephanie sputters.
I've been Maggie's friend for years, and
Bullshit, Pinkerton, I say pleasantly. Maggie and I are actually friends, and you and I both know better. Maggie squeezes my hand. I glance her way, worried I might have taken things too far, but her grateful smile assures me we're all good. We are good. So good I don't want to waste another minute putting on a show for Bully Barbie or anyone else. I push back my chair and arch a brow Maggie's way. What do you say we find a private place to eat, somewhere with less noise?
sounds great.
Maggie stands as I gather our plates and silverware.
See you later, Stephanie. Or not. I'm cool with not if you are. Just because our parents are friends, it doesn't mean we have to pretend we don't hate each other like stinky socks. I wear hose,
Stephanie says coolly, but it's a lame comeback and she knows it. I can see the defeat in her beady blue eyes as Maggie and I turn and walk away.
That was such a load off,
Maggie whispers with a laugh.
I've wanted to tell her to go to hell since 6th grade.
She squeezes my arm.
You were perfect, by the way. Totally amazing. I'm going to tell Penny you deserve 5 stars for a pitch-perfect performance.
Thanks, but I think you should hold off on making that call just yet, I say, pulse spiking as I nod toward the far corner of the tent where rocking chairs circle a fake fireplace. Up for food, fire, and confession?
What are we confessing?
She asks, brows lifting. You don't have to confess anything, I say, but there are a couple of things I'd like to get off my chest if that's okay. She hesitates a beat before she nods.
Sure, but no matter what you confess, you're getting 5 stars. That's already set in stone, okay?
Okay, I say, hoping she still feels the same way after she learns I'm the worst fake date ever.
Chapter 8. Maggie. I eat because I know I need to soak up the wine, but I don't taste a bite. I'm too nervous about what Coop's going to say when we've cleaned our plates. Is he going to share some tips for being a better date? Tell me that I'm the worst kisser ever and refer me to a specialist for training? Confess that I should start waxing my upper lip the way Lexi says I should, even though the little hairs are so blonde you can't see them unless I'm standing in a beam of direct sunlight, and all people naturally have peach fuzz on their face? And why should women tweeze away until they look like they're made of plastic, while men get to have patches of gnarly hair under their armpits they proudly display in tank tops? And oh my god, I can't stand the suspense another second or I'm going to lose my mind. I'd like to confess that I'm nervous about your confession, I say, setting my plate down on the floor by my rocking chair. Did I do something wrong? God, no. Coop places his empty plate under mine and reaches for my hand. Sorry. I didn't mean to stress you out. I'm the one who should be stressed. I'm the one who screwed things up. No, you didn't. You were perfect. I've never seen Stephanie look so constipated. And I'm having a great time. His lips twitch, but the expected smile doesn't appear. Thanks. I am too. And that's the problem. I'm having too good a time. I blink, not daring to indulge the hopeful voice inside me, squealing that it was right, and that he likes me too. I'm not 16 years old. I shouldn't be squealing about a boy, not even in the privacy of my own head. But when he adds in an earnest voice, I like you, Maggie. I'd like to see you again, off the clock. If that's something you might be interested in, I'll text Penny and tell her not to pay me for tonight. But I want to pay you for tonight, I say, smiling so hard my cheeks start to hurt. He shakes his head. I don't want your money. I just want... Want what? I ask, my heart racing. I want to kiss you, he says, setting the inner voice off in a major way. She's still running around my head, squealing, "He likes me! He really likes me!" As I lean in and whisper, "I want to kiss you too." Is it too forward to ask if you'd want to come back to my place for coffee and kissing? He grins, and his summer sky eyes light up like he won the lottery. "Yes, please. Now, please?" "And thank you," I say, giggling as he grabs my hand and pulls me toward the exit. A 20-minute cab ride later, we tumble out onto my street and dash through the lobby to the elevator. Inside, we kiss all the way to the 8th floor, down the hall to my door, and through the darkened living room to the couch, where we make out fully clothed, like teenagers, until I finally work up the guts to suggest we might want to slip into something more comfortable, like nothing at all. "You sure?" he asks. "We can wait." "But waiting means waiting," I mumble, half out of my mind with wanting him. "And waiting is stupid." He smiles against my lips as we kiss our way down the hall toward my bedroom. "Waiting is stupid. But you're worth waiting for. So if you change your mind, it's fine with me." I'm not going to change my mind, I promise, as we tumble onto the bed. And as one piece of clothing follows the next, falling to the floor as Coop and I find more and more ways to make each other feel oh so good, I only grow more certain that I want this. Want him. Best Christmas present ever. "The very best," he agrees. By the time I spin out with a blissed out cry, I'm already halfway in love. And then he whispers, "I'm going to run down to the corner market for some ice cream to eat in bed. You want some?" And I know we're at the start of something really special. "Yes, please," I say, tilting my face up to accept a kiss as he pulls on his tuxedo pants. "Something with cherries in it." "Done," he says. "I'm going to get something with caffeine in it. I'll need it if I'm going to stay up all night and work all day tomorrow." "I can't stay up all night," I say, even as I curse myself for being a responsible stick in the mud. I've got to unload 2 tons of trash from my latest flip tomorrow. The guy was a hoarder, and I'll be crazy behind if I don't hit it hard before Christmas. Coop cocks his head, shooting me a curious look. "Hoarder, huh? This wouldn't be a 3-story brownstone near here, would it? The one with the hole in the kitchen?" "Yeah, it is. How did you know?" I ask, frowning as he pulls his phone from his pocket and scrolls for a few beats, before turning the screen my way, revealing a work order from the company Lou referred me to this afternoon. "Your Fresh Starts, Inc.?" he asks. I nod, stunned. "Yeah, that's my corporation name. But this is crazy. What are the chances that I'd end up hiring you twice in the same day for 2 totally unrelated things?" "That just proves it," he says, bending down to kiss my forehead. "This is destiny, woman. Looks like you're going to be stuck with me for a while." "I guess so," I say with a smile. But I don't really believe in destiny or fate or holiday magic. At least not in that way. Of course we can change the world for the better with love, and a little luck is always appreciated. But there's nothing supernatural about Coop and I being thrown together twice. It's a little odd, but odd things happen all the time, especially in this city. But when Lexi stops by the job site early the next evening, insisting she needs to have her picture taken with the Christmas toilet before I tear it out, and her face lights up with recognition the moment she spots Coop toting a load of books in his wheelbarrow, the hair on the back of my neck stands on end. "Coop, dude, what are you doing here?" Lexi runs across the room, lifting a hand for Coop to high-five. "I'm helping Maggie with cleanup," he says, brow furrowing as he shoots me a spooked look over his shoulder. "And you're here because—" "Maggie's my mom." She turns to me, jabbing a thumb Coop's way. "This is Baxter's big brother, Mom, the one who's helping us with our sound." "Oh, wow, that's—" I trail off. blinking fast as my sleep-deprived brain puts together the pieces and informs me that I'm sleeping with my daughter's crush's older brother. That Lexi and I could conceivably be dating brothers if she succeeds in catching Baxter's eye and I consent to let her date a 20-year-old man. And all my words disappear. Cool, Lexi supplies, with a meaningful eye roll meant to encourage me not to embarrass her. It's cool. Coop's the best. He really is, I murmur, before I realize how that must sound, and my cheeks go hot, inspiring what sounds like a snort of laughter from Coop. I shift my gaze his way to find him grinning, and can't help but smile back. Okay, so maybe there is such a thing as destiny. And maybe I'm really glad it had me in its sights this holiday season. Here, you take the toilet pics, Lexi says, handing Coop her phone and skipping across the room. Mom always crops pictures in weird places. I do not, I say. That's just my artistic side coming out. Lexi rolls her eyes again as she crawls up to sit on the back of the toilet and props one booted foot on the creepy sink. Right, but I want some not artistic pics of this sweet toilet. She reaches an arm my way, fluttering her fingers. And I want my mama in the shot. I'm touched, but I can't help resisting. Are you sure? I'm covered in dust and spider webs. You're beautiful, Coop says, the sincerity in his voice making me shiver, and images of all the lovely things he did to me last night and this morning dance through my head. Get in there with your girl. Lexi smiles. He's right. Come on, we haven't taken a holiday photo in years, and we need to make the most of this toilet before you rip it out. Laughing, I toss my cleaning rag on the ground and join her, posing in my crazy kitchen until Coop's shot at least 50 pictures, and Lexi's decided she's ready to tell the toilet goodbye. Good, Coop says, guiding his now empty wheelbarrow across the room. We get the sink and toilet out tonight, and we'll save you guys money on the plumber tomorrow. Cool, Lexi says, pulling on a pair of gloves. As long as it doesn't take longer than an hour, I'm down. I'm starving. I need something other than cupcakes to eat before I go into sugar shock. We can get pizza on the way home, I say, glancing Coop's way. You can join us, Coop, if you'd like. My treat to say thank you for the amazing work. I never imagined we'd get it all emptied in 8 hours. Sounds great, Coop says, as he kneels beside the toilet, working at the rusted nuts, holding it to the floor with his wrench. Excellent, Lexi says, a sly note in her voice. I've been trying to get you two nerds together for a while now. Oh, yeah? I ask, narrowing my gaze. Yeah, she says, with an unconvincing casual shrug. You remind me of each other. Your energy or whatever. I thought you might hit it off. Be friends and stuff. Definitely, and stuff, Coop says. I nudge him with my knee, not certain I'm ready to go there with Lexi. But it's too late. My whip-smart daughter is already glancing back and forth between us, putting together the pieces, and bursting into delighted laughter. Oh my God, awesome. Well, good job, you two. I guess my matchmaking work here is done. She shucks her gloves. In that case, I'm going to the movies with the band. There's a Rolling Stones documentary at the Indie Theater. I start to remind her to be in by curfew, but she's already lifting a hand and heading for the door. By midnight, got it. Save me some pizza if you have leftovers. Bye, Coop. Be nice to my mom, or I'll spike your coffee with bleach, okay? Sounds good, Coop says mildly, as he lifts the toilet into the wheelbarrow with a grunt. Bye, Lexi. Bye, she calls out, her voice fading as she pounds down the steps to the street. Weird, I say, as I come to stand beside him, gazing down into the hole beneath the toilet. Weird that everyone and their mother was trying to set us up, including Penny, I'm pretty sure. Or weird that someone was hiding their lockbox under a toilet in their kitchen. Both. I grin and kiss his cheek, smile widening as he turns to me and claims a real kiss. A soft, sexy, slow one that makes me forget all about the lockbox until Coop whispers, "Should we crack that sucker open with the axe?" I pull away from his mind-muddying lips and nod. Yes, we should. Hopefully, it's filled with gold coins I can sell to pay for the dumpster to be emptied by Tuesday and brought back in time for demo. It isn't filled with gold coins, but it is filled with a dozen jewelry boxes, each one containing a piece I know will fetch one hell of a price at a Sotheby's auction. I shake my head, too shocked to believe the sight spread out on the scarred kitchen countertop is real. This is insane. They're probably worth more than I paid for the house. Why on earth did the previous owner have them locked away under the toilet? Well, it's a safe place, Coop says. Not many people are going to unbolt a toilet and look underneath, especially a toilet in the kitchen. Maybe that's why it was decorated, I ask, still puzzled, but knowing I'm not going to get any answers. Mr. Snively is gone, and all his reasons with him. But I still say a silent thank you. Now I won't have to get a second job to pay for the extra reno expenses. Awesome, Coop says, drawing me into his arms. That really works out for me, too, since I was kind of hoping to take up some of your spare time. Oh, yeah? I thread my fingers together behind his neck with a smile. Okay, so maybe a lot of your spare time. As much as I can get. That sounds perfect, I say, lifting on my tiptoes to press my lips to his. And it is. So perfect that by the time Christmas rolls around again, Coop and I are engaged. Penny is planning my wedding shower, and Lexi's written numerous songs about how gross it is to catch her mom making out. But she doesn't really mean it. She loves me and Coop, and me and Coop together. She's our biggest fan, which she proves by staying over at her dad's house on the night of the Hope for the Homeless Ball, so Coop and I can have the apartment to ourselves for our first anniversary. You think she'll be mad when she finds out we didn't leave the apartment? Coop asks, closing the door behind her and pulling me against him. I smile. Nope. And we don't have to tell her. We can pretend we danced the night away before coming home and eating ice cream in bed. Oh, I intend to dance with you, beautiful, he murmurs, all night long. He puts on Christmas carols, and we sway to the music, putting off our favorite part until delaying gratification any longer just seems silly. And then we kiss our way down the hall to the bedroom and make more holiday memories that I'll never forget. Never, ever. Not a single precious one. I hope you enjoyed Maggie and Coop's story. For more from the Magnificent Bastard Consulting crew, check out Penny and Bash's romance in Hot Revenge for Hire, available now. Keep listening for a free sneak peek.
Prologue. Picture this. It's a rainy spring day in the city. The streets are covered with a fine layer of mud and soggy garbage. The sun is a distant memory from another, brighter time when you were still stupid enough to believe in happy endings. And you've just been dumped so hard your heart looks like it's gone 3 rounds with Mike Tyson. You're ugly crying in a corner with a box of wine and a chocolate bar the size of your forearm, wishing Prince Charming would come swoop you up on his white horse and carry you far away from all those nasty memories of Mr. Wrong. But I'm here to tell you, ladies, you need to stop that shit. Stop it. Right now. Why? Because Prince Charming is a crock of shit. Like unicorns, mermen, and other fairy tale creatures, he doesn't exist. When you're down and out and your heart has been ripped to shreds by an asshole with a dickish side a mile wide, you don't need Prince Charming. You need a man who's not afraid to get his hands dirty. A man who can teach Mr. Wrong a thing or two about what it feels like to be deceived, betrayed, and laid low by the one person in the world you thought you could trust. What you need is a magnificent bastard, your very own one-man vengeance machine. Love isn't a fairy tale, sweetheart. It's war. And now you've got a soldier with an anti-asshole missile on your side. Want to ruin your ex's reputation? No problem. Every true asshole has a few skeletons in his closet, and I specialize in spring cleaning. Want to send that human cum stain to jail? A little harder, but often still possible. I only accept cases involving the very worst examples of mankind, the most miserable liars, cheats, and scoundrels. Truly terrible people tend to be good at covering their tracks, but I've delivered exes in cuffs before. Want to make your former lover green with envy? Make him wish he'd never kicked you off the love wagon, spat in your face, and walked away? Well, that, Cupcake, that's what I'm best at. I've been blessed with a face that turns heads, worked hard for a body that inspires shudders of lust at 20 paces, and honed my envy-inspiring skills into a razor-sharp weapon I wield with ruthless efficiency. I will make you feel like a queen and ensure your ex doesn't miss a minute of it. You'll be treated like a treasure, pampered like a princess. In reality, of course, things between us will never go further than a kiss, but your ex won't know that. He'll see your flushed cheeks, lust-glazed eyes, and wobbly legs and think I'm giving it to you hard every night. He'll imagine my hands on your ass. Before long, he'll have a jealousy hard-on so bad he'll come crawling back to you on his belly, begging for a second chance. But you won't give it to him. Did you hear that? Even so, it bears repeating. You will not give that loser a second chance. By the time I'm through with you, you will know deep down in the marrow of your bones that you're better than that. You'll realize that you deserve a man whose eyes won't wander, whose hands won't hurt, and whose heart belongs to you and only you. You'll be able to look down at that sniveling, pathetic, limp-dicked excuse for a man you used to love and tell him that he has no power over you. Not anymore. Now you're free to move on with your life without any of the bad breakup psychic baggage. And that, gorgeous, is the most important of the services I deliver. I give you back to you, the only person who can be trusted to steer your course as you ride off into the sunset. But if for some reason you break this all-important rule, if you sour the gift you've been given by going back to Major Dickweed, don't bother contacting me again. No amount of money will convince me to pick up the phone. A magnificent bastard intervention is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. One and done. No exceptions. None. Not even for her. The woman who made me break all my rules. The woman who made me think, for one amazing week, that even magnificent bastards can live happily ever after.
This has been MILF on the Shelf by Lili Valente. Narrated by Jason Clarke and Lili Valente. Copyright 2020 Lili Valente. Production copyright 2021 Lili Valente.